Mr. Biden was seen speaking with the loved ones of officers who died after January 6th. 4 who were at the Capitol that day have since died by suicide. Stephen Portnoy, CBS News, the White House.
With Detroit automakers watching, Mr. Biden announced the big target that half of all cars sold in the U.S. be zero emission by the year 2030. Our Ben Tracy speaks with the Center for Biological Diversity.
Some environmental groups wanted the administration to be bolder. The new regulations are essentially a return to the Obama administration standards undone by President Trump.
I'm disappointed that the president who says global warming is an existential threat isn't putting out a rule that is up to the challenge of that threat.
But the White House believes the changes will accelerate the move to green energy. Ben Tracy, CBS News, Washington.
The Senate could vote as soon as tonight to end debate on the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill, but it could put a dent in the nation's deficit, as CBS's Natalie Brand reports.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer signaled he's hoping for a final vote on the bipartisan physical infrastructure package this weekend.
Our goal is to pass both a bipartisan infrastructure bill and a budget resolution during this work period.
The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office released its analysis of the legislation, estimating it would add around $256 billion to projected deficits over the next 10 years.
The U.S. may eventually require visitors from abroad to be vaccinated in order to visit here. The news comes as the government says it has nearly doubled the average number of Americans newly vaccinated each day over the past few weeks in states with the most COVID-19 cases. Want to know if your favorite restaurant has a vaccinated staff? You can head to Yelp, says CNET's Ian Scher.
Now, by offering a proof of vaccination or all staff are fully vaccinated options into the Yelp profile, it kind of offers that next step of people feeling a little more comfortable at a time when the Delta variant is scaring a lot of people.
His contract expired. They had a deal, but soccer star Lionel Messi and Barcelona have gone their separate ways. The Dow gained 272. This is CBS News.
Your business journey never stops. Neither do we. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DEL and do more with modern devices and Windows 10 Pro.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like you're going 100 miles an hour, barely keeping up. But to cruise through challenges, you need someone who's right there with you. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the tech advice you need to get past whatever's in front of you and get to where you want to go.
Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DEL and do more with modern devices and Windows 10 Pro.
For the ones who know that a little late is always too late, and that the clock doesn't stop just because you're missing a part, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. And our Keep Stock inventory management solutions help ensure you have the right stuff in the right place at exactly the right time. Visit Grainger.com/keepstock to learn more. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
From the Herteen and Stalker Studios in the heart of the Hawkeye Nation, this is the mighty 1630 KCJJ, Iowa City.
Herteen and Stalker Jewelers, making memories, making moments.
Now, Iowa City's news first.
I'm Tommy Lang with KCJJ News. The Iowa Department of Public Health says the 7-day average of COVID-19 cases per day is the highest it's been in over 3 months. The 510 average cases per day for the period ending Tuesday is even higher than a year ago at this time, which was before vaccines were available. There were 201 patients in Iowa hospitals being treated for the virus, the first time since April that the figure has surpassed 200. 10 more deaths were confirmed, bringing the total since the pandemic began last year to 6,193. The 7-day positivity rate average is 7.6% statewide. In Johnson County, it's 5%. Lynn County is above the state average at 8%. Iowa State Fair organizers say they won't require masks on the grounds this summer. KCCI-TV reports that CEO Gary Slater is endorsing the CDC guidelines, which currently say they're not requiring masks, just recommending them. They plan to let families decide if they want to wear them. The fair will have masks available for those who want or need them, and said they will take the CDC's guidance into consideration. The Iowa State Fair begins next week. They will not be limiting capacity in any buildings. A Quad Cities man who eluded police after an attempted stop claimed the vehicle he was driving belonged to his mother. Wednesday night, 29-year-old Stephen Bolio of Davenport was on Highway 6 just after 6:15 p.m. when an officer saw him operating a 2005 Pontiac Grand Prix with a plate that returned to a Ford F-150 pickup. Bolio reportedly saw the squad car behind him near Sycamore Street, made an improper lane change, then ran a red light. Police activated lights and sirens in an attempt to stop Bolio, but he allegedly fled, reaching speeds of over 60 miles per hour on Highway 6 East. He reportedly passed on the shoulder and ran additional red lights. Officers located the vehicle at the Sunrise Village manufactured housing community on Scott Boulevard after another person was seen fleeing from the car. A search turned up a magazine with about 50 rounds of ammunition and a CO2 pistol in the glove compartment. After learning that Bolio was hiding in a nearby trailer, police attempted contact. He refused to come out before eventually surrendering. Bolio admitted to eluding police and said the vehicle belonged to his mother and he didn't know about the stolen plate or the ammunition in the glove compartment. Bolio also allegedly admitted to having sole possession of the Pontiac for the last 3 days. He was taken into custody and charged with eluding, interference with official acts, and carrying toy guns. If convicted on all counts, Bolio could be sentenced up to 25 months in jail. In sports, University of Iowa junior center Tyler Linderbaum, senior offensive lineman Kyler Schott, and senior defensive end Zach Van Valkenburg were named to the 2021 Rotary Lombardi Award watch list. Linderbaum was tabbed preseason first-team All-Big Ten and preseason first-team All-America by Athlon Sports. The Solon native was also named to the Big Ten Conference preseason honors list, as well as the Remington Trophy and Outland Trophy watch lists. Schott was named honorable mention All-Big Ten by league coaches and media last year. Van Valkenburg was named preseason first-team All-Big Ten by Phil Steele and preseason second-team All-Big Ten by Athlon Sports. He was also named to the Lott Impact Trophy preseason watch list. The Rotary Lombardi Award goes annually to the college football offensive or defensive lineman who, in addition to outstanding performance and ability, best exemplifies the character and discipline of NFL Hall of Fame head coach Vince Lombardi. With KCJJ News, I'm Tommy Lang. Now look at the weather forecast from SevereStudios.com.
With a look at your forecast, I'm meteorologist Ashley O'Connor. Cloudy and breezy tonight with a slight storm chance. Low temps will fall to the mid-60s. Mainly cloudy tomorrow morning with an isolated storm possible, becoming sunny in the afternoon with highs in the upper 80s. Lots of sunshine on Saturday, hot with a high temp near 90. Scattered thunderstorms are likely late Saturday night into the day Sunday with highs Sunday in the mid-80s. That's weather on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Currently, it's 75.
You're listening to Molly Suter on the mighty 1630 KCJJ.
Yes, hello, it is me. I'm also joined by Cindy.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, it's very rare.
Crazy.
Nowadays. I think maybe once we get into, like, football season and stuff, maybe it'll be less consistent. But yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll play it by ear. So, yeah, we've already gotten some pretty nice comments in the chat room before our show even started.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even look.
Someone's like, this is my favorite show. Another person's like, looking forward to another great show. And I'm like, y'all.
Oh, no. Now I feel like the pressure's on.
I know.
Okay, apologies in advance.
This show's going to be crap right now.
We don't know because nothing is ever planned.
One.
So
I'm going to have to insert so many commercials to fill tonight.
I posted on my Facebook that they can message on, chat with us or message me or call, and that we would talk about literally anything. At least I will.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. You have some hard limits.
I'm a little bit more private than Cindy is, I feel like. Like, when it's just my show, I'm not nearly as open or chatty or whatever. But, like, I feel like if you want to ask Cindy a question,
if I don't want to answer it, I won't answer it. But I don't.
I just feel like
think any question is a good question.
I just feel like people get brave and ask a question maybe they wouldn't have.
I mean, that was my experience.
Face to face.
on Facebook when I would let people ask me anonymous questions and then I would post them. We get a lot of good topics that way, but
course.
That was a lot of stress for me too. So
I don't know. I just don't. I've run into back when I used to like stream my show. I got some weird comments which made me want to stop like streaming the show because it was weird. And so I'm like, I don't want to invite that kind of energy again, but I do want like, if you have like an interesting but not like weird creepy question, that's fine. But if you're okay with weird, creepy questions,
I'm okay with weird, creepy questions, and if I don't like it, I won't. I'll let them know.
But it has to be like safe for radio, you know.
Yes, the question cannot contain naughty words
or curse words. Yeah. So, with that in mind, with that being said, if you want to ask a question or something, 319-358-1630 is the number that you call, or like just a topic to talk about. Last week, somebody asked us to talk about like why people cheat in relationships, and we were just kind of talking about that anyway.
Yeah.
And she just happened to like ask the question while we were talking about
And I have no new insight on that.
Oh, you do?
I don't.
Oh, you don't?
Insight.
Okay. I thought you said you do.
If anyone has any ideas.
I said it's like, and this has nothing to do with the other person at all. The person who cheats is 100% the person who cheated's fault. But I'm saying like, something's missing in the relationship and so they go elsewhere.
Or maybe something's missing in themselves.
Well, yeah. I think that's probably it, but...
Where they shouldn't be in a relationship.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
Or I think some people just think that they can get away with it, and that's part of the fun of it.
Those people aren't very nice, aren't they?
No.
And I wouldn't want to associate with them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have a comment in the chat room, but I have to go lean and look at it. Are you going to football games in person this year or not because of the pandemic? That's a great question. I'm going to answer that. I will not be going this year for exactly that reason. We are still in a pandemic, and Delta Plus? Absolutely not. I'm not taking a risk with that. That's also the reason I'm not going to concerts this year. Yeah, so I am not going to tailgate or those games at Kinnick this year. I just feel like that would make me so uncomfortable because, like, you're packed in the stadium like sardines.
Right. I just think we've gone back to what people call normal, and I don't think we ever should have gone back to normal.
Yeah. It was too early. I think people who did get vaccinated were, like, including me. I'm kind of including myself in this. People were just like, okay, I'm vaccinated. This is all I can do. Now let's party. And I haven't gone to, like, too many crowded stuff, but I feel like I could probably pull back a little bit, especially now that the students are back.
Right.
So I'm not going to go downtown anymore. But I feel like also the people who didn't get vaccinated and saw all those, like, restrictions lifting, being like, great, I can go out now, and it's, like, back to normal, and nobody will probably care that I'm not vaccinated, because nobody can tell.
Because those are the same people who are like, well, the people that are getting the Delta, they've been vaccinated, so what's, what? I'm like, God. Yeah, but they're not dying or being hospitalized.
Yeah. Well, mostly.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, the people that got vaccinated, if you get the Delta variant, you are not going to be as bad off as if you didn't get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Is what this science is saying.
I saw actually a really good analogy a few days ago, and it's like the vaccine is like a seatbelt. You put your seatbelt on, and like you still might get into a crash,
right?
But you might not like crack your head open and bleed all over the pavement,
Right. But I think people that it's my experience that, and this isn't true of all people that are conservative, we'll call them right wing type people, tend to try to see things in black and white. There's no science. So when they see science saying, oh, well, they keep changing their mind is how they're seeing it.
Yeah.
Instead of what science does is it gathers more facts and figures, and it does some testing, and it does, they adapt. And I just don't think that people that generally see black and white are really getting the nuances of what's going on.
That's the thing, nuance. It's like,
right.
But I guess I won't be as harsh on people, especially if they're vaccinated, if they want to go to clinic or whatever, because last year absolutely nobody was vaccinated, and I would have really judged people if they went.
Right.
But I feel like after a while, like, some people just can't be isolated anymore.
And I'm hoping, before I say anything further, that everyone who wants to be vaccinated has been vaccinated. With that being said, if you haven't been vaccinated,
please go vaccinate.
Well, that or survival of the fittest, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, that's what's really happening, because people that are, that care about the rest of the world actually did what they were supposed to do.
Well, I hope the listeners of this show are like-minded. And so
if they're not, I said what I said.
No, you said what you said, and I agree with you. But
because you had every opportunity. I think in Iowa, I know there's states that there are people that are trying to get vaccinated still, that want to get vaccinated because of funding or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's pockets of people that, I mean, I'm very privileged and thankful that my work and insurance and all that stuff paid for it, and all my kids got vaccinated as a result of that too. But I know there's some people that just cannot. But if you could have gotten vaccinated and you didn't, I don't have any patience for that.
I don't either. But
I don't have a lot of sympathy for it either. But
no.
I mean, I'm to a certain degree. But I mean, I'm human. But I'm still kind of annoyed that people didn't get vaccinated when they could have.
I agree. I was among, not the first. The first were like first responders and like medical people, but like I got my first one back in late March, and that was when like the people who really wanted the vaccines were scrambling to get them, and so I was like on the Iowa COVID tracker website like for 2 days in a row, just trying desperately to get an appointment.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go to like Esterville or whatever, because I had a friend who did go all the way to Esterville to get his vaccine, because they were like plentiful in Northwest Iowa. But I was just like, you know what? I would be willing to go to like Cedar Rapids, but like that's it. I'm not going past 30 miles or so.
Right.
But I got one. Where did I get it? Oh yeah, Mercy Vaccine Clinic. That's how I got mine.
I mean, now it's like you can go to Hy-Vee and ask them.
Oh
if
yeah,
they've got them. They'll give you one. But
if anyone is a pharmacist or like knows what's up, please call and tell me when I can get my third Pfizer shot. I would love to get my third Pfizer shot.
I got Moderna. Can we still be friends?
No. Get out.
I didn't have any choice.
I know.
They gave me what they gave me.
Yeah, they gave me what they gave me as well. I would have been okay with either three. But Pfizer is the one that I did want, just because I saw most of the research coming out of those trials instead of like Moderna or Johnson & Johnson. But I would have been happy with either.
Yeah.
The person who asked the question in the chat room said that they had Stones tickets, but then asked for a refund because Delta Plus variant.
Is Delta Plus different from Delta?
Yes. There was
Holy
Delta.
crap, there's another one?
There was Delta, and then it mutated again, so it's Delta Plus.
See, what I'm saying about we went back to normal, I don't think we should have that normal anymore. Even if Delta didn't exist, I don't think we should be going back to overcrowding places and
that was
shoving people in. I mean, after I've experienced like we went on vacation during that last summer, and everything was 6 feet apart. Like they spaced everybody to every event we went to. We were apart from people. They should continue doing that kind of stuff because it's more enjoyable. I know you don't make as much money, but like, why are we packing people?
That was kind of the problem anyway, since like I know there was I saw something on the internet, and you can't trust everything you see on the internet, but I'm fairly confident that this is fine. But like the reason Finland wasn't like huge for COVID is because like they naturally space each other out.
Right.
And so it's like if you crowd in places all the time, if you're just perfectly comfortable doing that, you catch so much. Like, not even just COVID, like anything passes when you're just like packed in so close to people.
And
like,
people
colds,
shouldn't be getting
whatever.
up on your butt anyway, like when you're in stores. Like, you should not be. I don't know where our society thought it was okay to be right next to somebody when you're in line. You know what I mean? Like,
I will admit, I used to do that. I'm not going to do that anymore.
I always kind of kept space just because it made me feel more comfortable. But like,
no, for sure. But I'm just like, during the pandemic, I'm like, why are you right behind me? Like, there's no reason.
I mean, I was doing that long before the pandemic. Like, get away from me. But
like, especially during a pandemic,
right?
Like,
but like, even that, like, why are we accepting that as normal? Why are we accepting everybody like in an office that doesn't need to be there? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, we all have had jobs where you really didn't need to be in that desk at that time. You could have done it at home.
Mm-hmm.
Like data entry and, you know, like phone service stuff. I mean, all that stuff can be done at home.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least part of your stuff could be taken home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't have a job that I can do that because I'm more customer service. But
Yeah,
I know there's lots and lots of jobs out there where they basically make you park your butt in a desk and make you stay there for 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That shouldn't be happening anymore.
I agree.
We're just going back to normal that never should have been normal to begin with.
I agree. And like, if you can work remotely, I feel like that's great, because then you don't have to commute hours every day.
You're saving a lot. And like, I mean, some of these businesses, I wonder why don't they just redo the way they do things, because then they wouldn't have to rent so much office space.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and like power a building.
Right.
And, it just seems more sustainable in a lot of ways.
I mean, I just think we should that's what I was hoping would happen after we get out of this pandemic, that everyone would rethink the way they're doing things.
Mm-hmm.
Because we all had a near-death experience, is how I feel. The entire world did.
Yes.
So why aren't we coming out of that like other people who have major events happen to them? You know what I mean? Like, you've heard the people that have a car accident, and when they come out of it, they're like, okay, I'm changing my life.
I've definitely had that brain shift.
Right. And it's like, I don't feel like the people are.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
It is frustrating.
I mean, not just in terms of health, but just in general, like, we were broken to begin with.
No, I agree.
Anyway, I didn't mean to get on a big tangent.
No, I agree with you. There's nothing else I can add, because you're just spitting facts.
Quit agreeing with me, Molly.
Spitting facts, Cindy. I can't. I can't add any more to that. But yeah, to answer your question, no, I will not be going to Hawkeye games this year. Maybe next year, unless we have Delta plus subtraction,
I was assuming that's
multiplication.
Primarily to you, because I just don't go to football games.
I know. I don't know if my dad is planning on going. I think so. I think he's probably going to go. I'll watch at home. I'll like go to like football parties like at home, like just gathering with like family or like people who I know are vaccinated.
Right.
You know? But I feel like I just don't trust that amount of people. And even if I did trust that amount of people, like, not everyone knows they have it. Not everyone gets tested like consistently. I don't get tested consistently. I don't think there's any need to, unless I was in like a big
I've been to enough games to remember that those seats are really close to each other, aren't they?
Are.
Like, they're not normal butt-sized seats.
No.
They're like skinny college girl-sized seats.
Yeah, you're definitely like just squished in there. Mm-hmm. There's just no way you can social distance and connect unless maybe they're doing like a half capacity thing, in which I really think they should.
I doubt they'll do that because they want the money.
They want the money.
No, and I don't blame them for wanting money. I'm not anti-capitalism. But
Cindy, that's the reason all of this is still happening, is because people want money.
I know, and I like money too.
Who doesn't? I like money too, but I'm just saying, the reason things didn't completely shut down, the reason things didn't completely like whatever, is because money.
Yes. Gosh darn it, we all need to do better.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, which is kind of a shame, because I like tailgating. I like being in that like party setting. It's really exciting.
I do love the tailgating of football. If I could just go to the tailgates and not go to the game, that would be awesome.
I mean, you can. Lots of people do.
How come I always got sucked into the game afterwards?
Lots of people do. My problem is I don't want to tailgate if I'm not going to the game because I hate navigating parking or even like just walking home after. I'm like,
yeah,
just come to my house. We'll drink at my house. Like, so I need to have a ticket to go to the game in order to feel justified in like going to the tailgate.
I just want the food and I want to see the band, and that's about it. I love the band. That's the exciting part. Oh, and I do like it when the football team comes out of that little tunnel.
Oh yeah, that's
cool.
cool.
That's always really neat. Do they still play Back in Black or whatever?
Yes, they do.
That's so exciting.
You know what I love, but I know Steve and Dad hate the burrito lift.
Oh, I don't. I guess I've never. That's so cheesy.
I know. I love it.
Do they still do that then?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know why. I don't know why you guys don't like it.
I don't have an opinion about it either way.
I think
it's cheesy.
I think it's fun. Was that a pun? Because it literally is. It can be cheesy. Because it's a burrito.
And cheesy.
Yes. Okay. Oh. Yes, so someone said CDC should have kept masks in place until 80 to 90% vaccinated. I agree. But, oh, did you see today? I got an email that, Iowa City Parks and Rec are mandating masks again, starting later this month.
And I don't know who. I thought she lived in Iowa City and works in Iowa City. She said that her work was requiring them again too. I'm waiting for my work to. They were pretty conservative at the beginning, and I'm okay either way. I mean, I think I'm the only person that like enjoyed. I didn't enjoy wearing masks.
I mean, but
I saw the benefit to it.
It wasn't like a huge thing. I wear them when I'm going into Hy-Vee or a convenience store or something, or if I go even through the drive-through, like you should.
I just did that tonight.
You should have a mask in a drive-through.
I agree, because the people that are working the drive-through are still wearing masks.
Not all of them.
Well, I was at Burger King and they were wearing, and my rule of thumb is because I am, like want to be safe, but also I tend to peer pressure. I like to do what everyone else is doing. I admit it. So when I go into a store, if I see that all of the employees are still wearing masks, I put one on. Because I feel like if they have to wear one, I want to make them safe too.
Exactly.
I want to put them at comfort, to be comfortable.
The way I see it, like especially people who work at the drive-through, like they see so many people a day, and like just pure numbers wise, someone has to have COVID.
Right.
Someone has to have it, and so like you never know when you're gonna catch it, and so it's just easier to be safe. Because like for you, which is 5 seconds at the window, but like for them, they're there for however many hours that they're there.
I didn't get cold or flu all year.
Yeah, exactly. That was really nice.
Didn't have to use chapstick all year.
Oh, I did. I do.
I don't know what it was. It just kept the moisture in my face.
I used chapstick every day of my
Really?
life. Yeah.
I am an every day, every couple hours chapstick person, especially in the wintertime.
I guess I just have dry lips.
Oh, I didn't have to wear chapstick. I like saved a whole tube of chapstick.
Oh, wow.
Because I go through at least a tube every winter. And then after lunch, I can eat whatever I want at lunch and not have to worry about it being stuck in my teeth if you're wearing a mask.
For me, I think I also said this earlier, or maybe I said this to someone else. I don't remember. But when I'm at the gym, sometimes my concentration face, like my mouth will be like just open. I'll be like, and like it looks weird, and so I'm glad I have the mask on. Nobody can see it.
Are you still wearing? You're going to Planet, right?
Yes.
Are you still wearing a mask when you work out? Or
Of course.
Okay, because they're not requiring them in the place.
No, they're not, and nobody has them. Everyone is just bare.
I mean, I go in to tan, and that's it. But
well, I started going back in like late May, and I told myself, I'm like, if I'm going to get COVID anywhere, it's at the gym where everyone's like panting. And so I'm just like, I'm just going to wear this mask until like the pandemic is over, essentially. It's not. So.
Are they still separate? Because I haven't even looked back into exercise. Are they still separating the,
yes,
okay, good.
They are.
Again, I think that should have been done. We've talked about this before. Is my big pet peeve when somebody comes right next to you on the machine, like on the elliptical or whatever, and the one right next to you, and there's like 10 that are open.
I will say, at Planet Fitness, there are a ton more treadmills than there are ellipticals
Right.
or like Stairmaster. So I understand if you're like going on the Stairmaster, there's only like 3 there.
I've
so you
had
have to...
someone go right next to me on a treadmill, and there were like 20 other treadmills they could have chosen. I don't know if they had a favorite one and I accidentally took the one right next to it.
Maybe they were trying to holla. Maybe
No,
they
they
liked
weren't.
you.
Have you seen me at the gym?
Yes.
Yeah, no one's hollering at me.
No one's hollering
No
at me.
one's
either.
hollering at me.
And thank God. Please do not holler at me at the gym if you see me at the gym. I am just there to work out and leave. Someone in the chat room said burrito lift sucks. It doesn't. It doesn't.
I mean, it's not
fun.
horrible.
What do you guys have against fun?
I mean, it's just the thing where they put the fake burrito and you like have to lift it and then they superimpose it, right?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, it's no more cheesy than the kiss cam, right?
Do they?
Is that the same thing? They don't have a kiss cam
No.
there, but they have them in other games that I've seen on TV.
I know.
Not the game on TV, but a movie about the game on
Yes,
TV.
but I think Colonel still have a kiss cam. Excuse me, Hawkeyes have a smile cam. Or maybe they have a smile cam at Colonel's too. I have not been to a Colonel's game in 2 years, so like...
I saw the cutest clip, and it might have been on TikTok. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the kiss cam, and it was an older couple, older than me. And the woman saw that they were getting on the kiss cam, and she looked at it, and she looked at her honey, and she took her shirt and put it up over him like she was giving him...
Oh.
It was so funny.
That's funny.
And given the age, you would not have expected that, but it was pretty funny. Oh, and I saw another TikTok that had a brilliant idea.
What?
These 2 friends were saying that they have decided that instead of saying I saw it on TikTok, they're going to say I saw it on the news.
I mean, that's how I get my news.
I was telling my friend
That's
at
like
work that, and I'm like, yeah, but the things I see on TikTok, I don't think anyone's going to believe that I saw it on the news.
It's reading the morning paper for me.
And the evening.
Evening paper, afternoon.
And
yep.
breaks and everything else in between.
Midnight paper, yep. Yeah. I mean, you could say it for some things, because like I follow actual doctors and stuff who
I
present
actually follow Under the Desk
information.
News, who's that gal that person who does her shtick is that she's under the desk reading off the news. Mm-hmm. And so she does a take on the news. Mm-hmm. And anyway, that's news stuff. And I think I have Yahoo News too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yahoo.
Like I think it's Yahoo, or it's one of the news sources.
Sorry, I'd take an hour of the Kiss Score smile cam over 30 seconds of the burrito lift. That's very, very harsh, person in chat room.
And so specific about
I know. Are you Steve? Is this Steve's alt account? Is this my dad's alt account?
But I think an hour of the Kiss Cam would be another thing. Like you'd have to find that on the internet.
You probably can. There's probably a Kiss Cam compilation out there.
For an hour.
But yeah, in case you want to be a part of the chat room, that we're occasionally like reading out their messages, go to YouTube, the Mighty 1630 KCJJ, and we're live. And while you're there, subscribe to our channel, because we have Senior Talk every week, and sometimes we have bonus content, and then this show gets stayed up. Yeah, it has been for like a couple of months now.
Does that sports show get saved or no?
Yes, it does. And then
I know it's not called That Sports Show, but what's it called?
All Hawkeyes.
All Hawkeyes.
Yeah. Yeah. So do that. And if you have, actually, I don't know if I want to invite opinions on what we just talked about, in case that Trump guy that listens to us calls.
If you have opinions that agree with us, you may call 319-358-1630.
Or, yeah.
But only if they agree with us.
Yes. We want this to be an echo chamber. We're not trying to start discourse.
Or if you can politely disagree. Well, actually, I don't know why you disagree with us.
If you're
I mean, if you're wrong, you're wrong.
Yeah.
If you want to admit that you're wrong, live on air, don't call.
They would never.
Go find your own radio show.
They would never.
Isn't that how Steve runs the mornings?
Yes.
If you don't like it, go find your own radio show.
And then people like angrily message like in the afternoon, long after the show has aired.
Well, all of these complaint messages will go tomorrow morning.
Or in the middle of the night when they're not. All right. Oh, it's called Hawks Fanatics. Sorry.
That's what the name of the sports show is
yes.
called? Oh.
Thank you, person in the chat room.
Clearly I'm not a sports person.
I don't listen to the show. I'm sorry. But you know what? Pat Hardy does not listen to the show either, so it's fine.
Well, screw him. No, that's okay. He might be listening. We don't know.
I doubt it. No, he never listened to my show. Whenever like we see each other in passing on Saturdays, he will like request something that I've never heard of in my life. And I'll be like, that's in format, right? And I'm like, I don't know. And so I'll play it and I'll be like, that's something I've never heard in my entire life. And so we just have different tastes. And my show is usually music. And so there would be no reason for him to listen to me.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, he always tries to suggest Pink Floyd. And I'm just
I was going to guess.
Yep.
I was going to guess, but I didn't want to be rude. I was going to say, was it Pink Floyd or something?
Yeah, it's Pink Floyd. Usually. Sometimes it'll be something else, but I think it's just funny that he just consistently comes out with songs that I've just never heard of.
Well, I'm not a fan of Pink Floyd either, but...
Yeah. So, yeah, Hawk Fanatics is the name of the show.
Well, you can catch that on YouTube, too.
Oh, yeah. Because it is saved. So please subscribe to our YouTube, the Mighty 1630 KCJJ, and while you're on the internet subscribing to things, you can go and follow my Facebook page, The Molly Suter Show. I will request that you do not send me a message on there because in order for me to see it, I have to click a bunch of stuff and it loads. It takes forever. So just message on the chat room when I'm on, please.
You can message me, though. Cindy Hudson. Yeah. I'm not Cindy Clark Hudson anymore.
Okay, yeah, because I'm like, I never know what to introduce you as, because I just always knew you as Cindy Clark Hudson.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't.
So Cindy
I'm not
Hudson.
offended either way. I just took it off because I don't know why.
Was that your married name?
I was never Cindy Clark Hudson officially. That was just what I was on Facebook because, you got to put your maiden name on there so people can find you.
Yeah.
And that's how it ended up.
Yeah, my mom has her maiden name, too.
But I could always tell when somebody either knew me from here or from Facebook because they would refer to me as Cindy Clark Hudson.
Oh.
Which kind of started annoying me a little bit.
Really?
Okay, this is a stupid thing.
So
but
don't call her that anymore, guys.
No, you can call me it, but just don't call me only that.
Okay.
So you've seen the Lady Gaga movie with, what's his face?
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, so Bradley Cooper plays a, super famous star, singer, whatever.
Yeah.
And they had that conversation in the bar where he knew that he was famous when people would call him by
his stage name.
I don't remember what his character's name was. It was like John Smith or something.
I've only seen it once. I don't remember.
And so he knew that he was famous when people would only call him by his full name, like his full John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt or whatever his name was instead of just John. And when I saw that, I'm like, God, that makes sense because not that I'm famous, but people would refer to me as Cindy Clark Hudson because they knew me from here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then they would refer to me that like throughout, you know what I mean? Throughout the conversation, not just, once you get to know me, just call me Cindy. You don't have to keep referring to me as Cindy Clark Hudson.
Yeah, exactly.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
I don't want people thinking I think I'm famous. I know I'm not, but do you know what I'm saying? So at that point I thought, and then when I stopped coming into the morning thing, it was like, okay, I'm just going to go back to Cindy Hudson because that makes more sense.
I'm famous, though. I've been recognized twice now. People will be like, exciting. Are you Molly from KCJJ?
Are you Molly Suter?
Yes.
Are you the Molly Suter Show?
Yes, I
See, that would be what would...
Yes, I am the Molly Suter Show.
And I have to say, that's another reason why I like our unofficial title, Molly Suter and the Other Girl.
Molly Suter and the Other Girl, yeah. there is a song that I really like that we have called The Other Girl, and it's Kelsey Ballerini and Halsey, and I've just never thought of that, like, in relation to our show until now. Like, The Other Girl. It's the exact same, like,
Is it about
wording.
a girl that's cheating on...
It's about like...
It's got to be about a girl that's cheating.
It's about two women musing about the other girl. Like, like they can tell their man is cheating, and they're, like, wondering what...
The other girl does.
What the other girl's like.
Got it.
Yeah. It's a good song.
That's not the vibe I was going for with that, but...
No, it's not. I'm just saying it's the same, like, wording. I thought that was funny.
The other girl.
The other girl. So,
I don't get... No one's messaging me with weirdly specific topics that we're already talking about.
Yeah. Well, I told them no creepy stuff, so that's
all that listens. Molly, we've completely alienated the audience.
We have. I wonder if that woman who reads Amish fiction is listening.
Could you just tell us like a synopsis of one of the books that you're reading?
Yes, call in and do that. I don't know if she's listening. She hasn't called in a while. Or just anyone listening reading like Amish. Was it Amish romance or like?
I think so. It was like. I still haven't read any of those books. I really should.
The only Amish fiction I've read is Plain Truth by Jodi Picoult.
I've read a couple of Amish and like people that have escaped it.
Oh yeah, that's
not
really
so much Amish, but like the Amish and then like the Mormon cult type things. Just because I find that lifestyle kind of fascinating.
I do too, and actually I love I don't really know the real difference between Amish and Mennonite, but I see like Mennonites ride the train and go to restaurants and stuff.
Well, so my understanding, and I only know this because I have family that live in that area. I worked in that area as a bartender. Mm-hmm. And I have family members that are Mennonite.
Oh, yeah?
And I know people have gone to the Mennonite church. I've always described Mennonite as Amish light.
Amish light?
So some of the older generation will still wear the Mennonite, like, little lace prayer hats or whatever they call them. Mm-hmm. I hope somebody knows more than I do. This is an example of us talking about things we know nothing about.
Yes.
Or very little about.
Hello, you're on the air.
This is not that Amish lady calling, by the way.
Oh. Do you have something about Amish fiction to tell us?
Now, I want to ask you a question about that. Do you ladies know what they have to, like a couple, what they have to go through before they get married in the Amish church? Do you know that? I read about
Is
that.
that the one where you put a board in between them? Where they have to lay in bed with a board in between
Cindy.
them?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
They have to do that. But what else they have to do, we were down there a couple of weeks ago, and they have to, like, quote unquote, almost go courting. So they have to go on a date. Mm-hmm. And we saw all these, like, these younger Amish couples, like, together. Mm-hmm. They were, like, riding bikes, and they were all smiling and stuff like that. So they have to do that first. But then you're right about that, Cindy.
Yeah.
They actually have to put a board between them, and they have to, like, just talk the whole night, and they cannot do anything besides that and get to know each other.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Honestly, that should be
and
part
then
of
what
regular
happens?
dating.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I think marriages would last longer.
If you
Just saying.
If you actually
had to talk.
Or
you mean like okay, all right. So for instance, if you go down, okay, in my younger days, if you go downtown and if you would, like, you know, you'd hook up with a woman, so you're saying you'd take her home, and basically what you have to do is you would have to get a board out. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Cindy?
and just talk the first night.
Yes.
You couldn't do anything else because you'd be like saying, you know, this girl's awful damn good looking, but you'd say like,
exactly,
damn that board. And then then you're right. If you could get by the board, then I guess then you could be okay, right? And you could get it the second time, I guess.
You got to do the talking first, I guess.
Yeah, that's
you got
probably
to talk
a good
it through.
Anyway.
I guess that's if you're
to
looking
see that
for a long-term relationship. If you're just looking to...
If it's just a hookup, no. But, like, if it's anything deeper than that, then
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Before marriage, you should learn how to talk to each other.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. But what you're saying basically is not, so if you're looking for a hookup, then forget about the board.
No board.
Just, the hell with
Right.
the board.
And I like the way the Amish do their marriage thing, but I just don't, I'm not a big fan of not doing anything else but sleeping next to a board before marriage. So somewhere in between.
All right, take care, ladies.
Okay, bye.
Nice hearing you. Bye-bye.
Somewhere in between total abstinence
and just going at
or
it.
just, banging first night.
So is the board thing like the night before the wedding?
I don't know what the timing of it is, and I don't even know how I know that, but I've read a couple books about it.
Or is it like after the wedding? Do you still have to do that for like a few days before you can?
I mean, I don't know, because I don't think that a lot of those cultures give any sort of sex talk.
No, probably not.
So I don't know if you were a young lady, and a lot of get married really, really young.
Cindy, we barely get the sex talk. Like in public school?
Yeah.
Like
Well, yeah, that's
secular
true.
public
Yeah.
school? Absolutely not. We barely get that.
True. That's true.
So
that is true. But we get more than some of the more conservative religions do.
For sure.
And then they get married really super young, too, so they don't know. Maybe they do the board thing the whole time because they think that's what...
I don't know. I'm not Amish.
And I don't know if the board is an actual thing that they do anymore. But it was the whole idea is that just to test their ability to stay chaste before marriage.
Surely. I mean, how secure is this board? Surely you can say the board was there the entire time because you can replace it if somebody asks. And you look, the board is still intact.
And
Meanwhile,
I'm guessing there's parents outside, adults, chaperoning, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how these people date with.
Do we have an ex-Amish person or like someone on Rumspringa?
See, that's another fascinating thing because
would
you
love
can
to hear
supposedly do whatever you want during that time.
Supposedly,
but if you're a female Amish person and you go on Rumspringa and you come back pregnant, what happens?
Oh, you don't come back. Probably.
I know, but so many of these people, that's all they know. So when they go out into the real world, they get a little scared.
Yeah.
And they come back. And I get that.
No,
like, I've always said that if I was born in the Amish world and I didn't have any outside connection,
I would probably stay in the Amish world.
I'd probably be happy. Because I personally don't like having a lot of options. I don't like making choices, I should say.
You've said that.
So if you didn't know any different, it might be okay. But, I know different. So it's odd to me that you would choose to go back. But then your family's there. So
yeah, your
there's
family's
that too.
there. Not everyone wants to cut ties with their entire family.
And I think they're kind of strict. Is Amish the one that does the shunning?
I don't know. Yes, I think so. I think so. As again, my only knowledge is that Jodi Picoult book, and I don't think Jodi Picoult is Amish or was Amish. So, who knows if the information was even halfway correct? But yeah, I think
I know shunning is a thing. I just couldn't remember if it was. I think it's the Amish that does that.
Yeah.
I mean, I do it too, but
you shun?
I call it holding a grudge, and not liking somebody forever because they hurt me or my friend.
Mm-hmm.
But
I hold a grudge. So
I hold everybody's grudges.
I hold more grudges for people who tell me about other people.
I know, I do,
but not for me personally.
I'm more likely to hold a grudge for somebody else.
Exactly.
Than I am to, I always tell people that's the benefit of being my friend. I will hold your grudges forever.
That's
long after you've forgotten about it. I will remind you.
That was kind of the problem with last week. I told you guys about my friend whose guy was messing around on Tinder, and I'm just still kind of mad about that because I'm that. I think what he said to you was BS about it just being for validation. I think that was just all BS, and I still think that. And
well, they're still together, right?
As far as I know.
And if he's doing that, and he's BSing her about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And she wants to be BS'd, and that's fine.
Or maybe he doesn't do that anymore. Again, this was years ago, and like we don't talk about the relationship anymore because she knows how I feel, and she doesn't want to hear it from me.
I know, but if he's quick to, instead of admit he did something wrong, instead validate what he did,
justify it,
justify it,
agree
that's a
with
problem. And that's something
you
don't just stop doing. You're doing it with other stuff too, I guarantee you.
I agree with you. But
I'm waiting for her to call in.
No.
I want her side of the story, Molly.
She does not listen to my show.
I think you were asking for it. I think you were on Tinder asking for it. I'm kidding.
You better be kidding. You better be kidding.
Asking for her boyfriend to message you.
No, I was not. I did not.
You were looking for your friend's husbands, weren't you?
I did not even message this man first.
I know, I'm teasing.
I know you are. But yeah, that's what all this is, teasing.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's ever asking for it.
No, I would never.
I hate this chair that I'm in. It's so creaky.
It does. I can hear it creaking over
I know,
here.
it sucks. And I know you guys can hear it too. And I hate it.
Do you have any WD-40 or?
Not that I know of. But like, when we're talking about something like excitedly, I'm just like...
Quit moving, Molly, and it won't squeak.
But I can't. I'm getting excited. I talk with my hands.
Is it just tonight that it started doing that?
No. No. But it's just been irking me for a while. I don't like the squeaky
I'm surprised anyone
chair.
else who sits in there doesn't get annoyed by it, too.
Maybe they just don't care.
Maybe they can't hear it.
Yeah. That might be it. I can hear it, though.
I can hear it over here, and I don't know if I'm hearing it through the
you're hearing
radio, or if
you are hearing it through the radio.
Okay.
You're hearing what the listeners are hearing.
Oh.
So I don't know if it's bugging the listeners, but if it is, I'm very
sorry.
Now it is.
Now that you pointed it out, they can't unhear it.
Yeah, you can unhear it. Well, misery loves company. So.
Call and complain to the studio manager tomorrow.
Don't.
Isn't that Hunter? Or no?
No, Steve is in this chair.
I know, but studio manager, or whoever who makes all the... Who's in charge of chairs?
Probably Steve.
Okay. The chair manager.
The chair manager.
Don't you have a hierarchy?
Please
here?
let that be me.
If I see it on the side of the road tomorrow, I'll know.
I guess I could get out of the chair and stand up, but I don't want to. I don't.
No. Have you seen that lady? Okay, again, I saw it on the news.
Yeah.
TikTok.
Okay. No, the news.
She, over, pandemic, she was working at home, and so she decided she would get a stand-up desk that not only stands up, but she has a treadmill.
Oh.
So she has like one of those treadmill standing desk things, and she walks like, I don't know, what's a reasonable amount of miles a day? Like 100? I don't know. 5? I don't know. She
100?
walks a lot of miles. She walks for 8 hours a day on her treadmill.
Like, just always walking?
Constantly. She's typing and...
I don't think I could. I mean, I like that idea for, like, maybe a few hours, but not 8 straight hours.
I don't know if it's 8 straight, but it's... She posts, like, how many miles she's walked. And to me, it's all just...
I know before my mom retired, she had a standing desk for, like, the last 2 years that she was working, and she liked it. She said it was gooder, better for her back. Sorry.
I've seen the standing desk at work kind of float through people, and I've noticed that the people who have it use it for about a week, and then it never gets used again.
Yeah.
And it goes on to the next person.
That would probably be me if I had, like, a traditional desk job. I'd be like, yes, this is so great. I'm going to, like, be really consistent. Blah, blah, blah.
This is going to change my life.
No, because when I, like, maybe a year into working here, I started, like, standing up while I was, like, talking because it's, like, you can move around, blah, 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 it's better energy. And then, like, I just stopped because I'm like, ugh, whatever. But I kept that up for a few months, but not consistently. And I'm back to sitting down. Someone in the chat room said they cannot hear the creaking noise.
That's because you haven't moved for the last 15 minutes. I can hear it. I can hear it. I can hear it. Molly, oh my God, I can hear it. It's not that bad.
It's bad for me. It's bad for me since I'm right here.
And you move around a lot.
Yes, I do. It's my ADHD. I can't stay still. Cannot do it. So, well, this might be a good opportunity for some news and weather.
That sounds good.
Yes, and we're going to come back. Make sure you go to the chat room, introduce some topics. If you know any more about Amish people, Amish culture, we want to hear about that too. And all that's coming up on the mighty 1630 KCJJ.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Dell Small Business.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. In Chicago, millions of acres in the west are being charred by nearly 100 wildfires. Overnight, the Dixie Fire, the largest in California, all but destroyed the mountain town of Greenville. CBS's Jonathan Vigliotti has details.
Heavy smoke clouds still fill the air here in this gold rush town of Greenville. We found Fire Chief Sergio Mora surveying the damage.
It's devastating. It's hard to put into words other than it's difficult.
Mora was there to provide safety to his fellow firefighters as they battled the flames, his 23rd day on the job.
9 new large wildfires have been reported, 3 in Washington, 2 in California and Oregon, and 1 in Idaho and Montana. Moderna says its shots remain effective 6 months after the second dose, though it expects booster shots will be needed this winter. Vaccines are up this week, but so are new COVID cases, and there's concern about a potential super spreader event in South Dakota. CBS's Mola Lengi with more on that.
Dr. Shankar Kura's hospital in Rapid City is gearing up. For him, it's deja vu. Last year's rally resulted in widespread transmission, with at least 463 confirmed cases linked directly to Sturgis and nearly 200 secondary infections all across the United States.
During our Rose Garden ceremony, the president signs legislation awarding congressional gold medals to police officers who responded to the U.S. Capitol riot.
America owes you a debt we can never fully repay.
President Biden is hoping to jumpstart the switch to electric vehicles. His new executive order sets an ambitious goal that half of all vehicles sold should be electric by 2030, and his administration wants to cut emissions from cars that run on gas. More from CBS's Ben Tracy with automakers' reaction.
They're saying it's their aspiration that they'll get somewhere between 40 and 50% by 2030, but they see the federal government needs to provide tax incentives so people will buy these vehicles and also build out charging stations across the country.
Remembering a man who has been referred to as the leader of American workers, CBS's Linda Kenyon with details.
Chris Trumka died today from a heart attack.
The president saddened by news of the death of Richard Trumka. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer got choked up when making the announcement on the floor of the U.S. Senate.
I wanted to inform my colleagues that we have just lost a giant, and we need him so.
Richard Trumka served as president of the AFL-CIO since 2009. He died while on a camping trip with his grandsons. Trumka was 72. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, Washington.
U.S. jobless claims down 14,000 to 385,000 as the economy rebounds. And stocks climb on Wall Street, notching more record highs. Now, this is CBS News.
Your business journey never stops. Neither do we. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL and do more with modern devices and Windows 10 Pro.
Do you check your Google search results regularly? You should. People often get their first impression of you or your business online. Negative comments on the internet can impact your life and your livelihood. Take control of your online reputation. Get your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com. It may reveal negative posts from an ex-employee, upset patient or client, news article, legal issue, or even exposed personal information right there in your Google search results. Uncover what's lurking on the internet about you with reputationdefender.com's patented scan and get your free reputation report card. Or for immediate assistance with your reputation, call 800-401-6681. Our cutting-edge technology helps make your Google search results look their best. Call 800-401-6681. That's 800-401-6681. 800-401-6681. Or take the free scan at reputationdefender.com.
From the Hertine and Stalker Studios in the heart of the Hawkeye Nation, this is the mighty 1630 KCJJ, Iowa City.
Hertine and Stalker Jewelers, making memories, making moments.
Now, Iowa City's news first.
I'm Tommy Lang with KCJJ News. Johnson County Public Health is now advising all residents to wear masks indoors whether or not they've been fully vaccinated. The county's community health manager, Sam Jarvis, told the Board of Supervisors that as of Wednesday, the county is experiencing moderate transmission, while surrounding counties are either rated substantial or with high transmission. He believes that the trend indicates that Johnson County will eventually experience substantial or high transmission as well. The CDC has already recommended that fully vaccinated people wear masks in public indoor settings in areas with substantial or high transmission. Jarvis says County Health is working with the University of Iowa on how to align its recommendations with policies already set for the school by the Board of Regents. Students begin the fall semester August 23rd and have already started to arrive. Many, if not most, are believed to be fully vaccinated. While Jarvis doesn't believe the county will see a surge of cases like was experienced last November, he does expect an increase in the coming weeks. Both University of Iowa Healthcare and Mercy Iowa City announced the departure of 2 administrators on Wednesday. Bradley Hawes is leaving his post as UIHC Chief Financial Officer to take the CFO job at Emory Healthcare in Atlanta. Current Chief Financial Officer for the University of Iowa Hospitals and Clinics, Mark Heinrichs, will become interim CFO for the entire UI Healthcare program. That includes the hospitals and clinics, UI physicians, and the Carver College of Medicine. A national hunt for a successor will be conducted by a search committee. Meanwhile, at Mercy, Iowa City, President and Chief Executive Officer Sean Williams will resign effective September 30th. He's had the position for over 3 years after spending 8 years as President and CEO of Mercy Medical Center in Clinton. According to a Mercy news release, Mercy Iowa City is in the process of finding a long-term partner. They did not release further details on Williams resigning, but said they would share more information as soon as it becomes available. Mercy Iowa City Chief Operating Officer Mike Tracta will serve as acting president effective October 1st. A California man who crashed his semi into a cable barrier on Interstate 80 Wednesday night has been arrested for an outstanding warrant and drunk driving charges. Authorities were alerted to the incident just after 9:45 Wednesday night and found the Freightliner semi in question crashed near the Oxford exit. A trooper identified the driver as 37-year-old Raman Rampal of Livingston, California. A check of his records showed a warrant for his arrest on a controlled substance charge out of Missouri, and he was placed under arrest. A subsequent search allegedly turned up about a gram of suspected methamphetamine in Rampal's pocket. Field testing confirmed it was methamphetamine. He was then taken to the Coralville Police Department, where he reportedly failed field sobriety testing. A drug recognition expert determined that he was impaired at the time of the accident. Rampal was charged with operating while intoxicated first offense and possession of meth. He could be sentenced up to 2 years in prison if convicted on both counts. In sports, local Mediacom subscribers will soon have more college football and basketball options. Disney Media and Mediacom Communications announced a new distribution agreement on Thursday. As part of that agreement, Mediacom will now offer the ACC network to its subscriber base, allowing fans and followers of the Atlantic Coast Conference to access the multi-platform network beginning this September. Mediacom video subscribers will find the ACC network as an addition to either the Essential TV channel set or the Sports and Information package. With KCJJ News, I'm Tommy Lang. Now look at the weather forecast from SevereStudios.com.
With a look at your forecast, I'm meteorologist Ashley O'Connor. Cloudy and breezy tonight with a slight storm chance. Low temps will fall to the mid-60s. Mainly cloudy tomorrow morning with an isolated storm possible, becoming sunny in the afternoon with highs in the upper 80s. Lots of sunshine on Saturday, hot with a high temp near 90. Scattered thunderstorms are likely late Saturday night into the day Sunday with highs Sunday in the mid-80s. That's weather on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Currently, it's 75.
You're listening to Molly Suter on the mighty 1630 KCJJ.
Yes, you are, but also you're listening to Cindy, the other girl.
And Molly.
Yes.
The first girl.
Yes. So while we were taking that news break,
it turned all Russian in the chat room.
A Russian guy Russian person came into the chat room speaking Russian, and so I quickly went to Google Translate, and his messages were, "I am cooler," and then a few messages down, "What is happening here?" And so I explained in Russian because I had Google Translate open. I'm like, this is a radio show out of Iowa, USA. And then he left. He was no longer interested. And then someone else in the chat room was also speaking Russian.
I know.
And he said, go Hawkeye. So,
so I'm so paranoid that I started looking at my settings to see if I had accidentally set everything to Russian. And then I went over and I found I flipped the screen so that I could see the thing in there and realized it was on there too. So I didn't touch that.
No, it's not Russian setting. It's just sometimes if you go live on YouTube like we're doing right now, or like when we used to do Ustream, like some people will just be like browsing YouTube and your stream will randomly show up. And so they'll be like, what is this?
So it's like a For You page for YouTube.
Yes. Yeah. No, okay, sometimes that happens. Like, when I get in here on Monday mornings after Hawk Fanatics, we will, we'll stop the stream, and then Steve has the stream, like, on the page. Like, I have it right here. And since it will stop, and I won't exit out of the page right away, so it will just dump us on some random YouTube stream. Usually it's a church live service in like Greece or something, and so it just dumps you into the random stuff. So I'm guessing that's probably what happened here. Like there was some Russian live stream that they were watching, and then it just dumped to us for whatever reason. Like it was just on live, whatever. I don't know how the algorithm works. And they were just like, what's happening here? I don't get it. And, yeah.
That was exciting.
That was exciting. That would have been great, like, content for the show. Like, as it was happening, like, I could have been translating on Google Translate and, like, playing the audio. So...
And I'd still be over here going, what's wrong? What did I do to my phone?
What's wrong with the phone?
Check Facebook. Is that on Russian?
No. I mean, you could set it to Russian if you wanted to.
And I think I've done that by accident once.
But our Russian friend has left the chat.
Goodbye, no, I don't even know. What's sir in Russian?
I have no idea. I don't.
Goodbye, Russian dude.
Yes. Goodbye.
That's as good as I can do.
Goodbye. До свидания. Which is, I think, goodbye in Russian, or see you later or something. But
my experience with Russian ended with Mikhail Brishkinov. So, Brishkinov, or how you say his name.
I don't know what that is.
You never saw, he was a ballet dancer who was hot as all get out.
Oh.
And he was in a movie called something Nights. No.
Boogie Nights.
No. It was like Russian Nights or something like that. And it was him and Gregory Hines, who was the big tap dancer guy back in the day.
Okay.
It was like a classic 1980s movie.
Okay, I was not around in the 80s.
I know, but it's one of those. I remember watching it a lot because I really loved Mikhail. I wonder how you spell his name now. Mikhail Baryshnikov.
It's probably Mikhail.
Yeah, he's still cute. He was actually... Okay, so did you watch Sex and the City?
I watched the first 2 episodes and couldn't get into it. I found it was
He
too
was
dated.
one of Carrie's boyfriends. He was the Russian boyfriend. He was like an artist.
Oh, okay. My problem with Sex and the City was that it was just a little too dated, because it started in the late 90s, and I feel like there's a tonal shift between like shows from the 90s and 2000s as opposed to now. And I didn't mind it with Friends because I was used to it, but like going back to something like that, I'm just like, I'm not really into.
I never watched it when it was in its, like when it was live or whatever you call it. What was happening at that time. I think I watched it many years later when it was like released on TBS or someplace like that. So like all of the raunchier scenes were cut out.
Oh, White
White Knights. Yeah,
yes,
I'm looking it up on IMDb.
Well,
He was in like
the
other
chat
things
room
too.
told us.
Apparently, I saw Company Business too. Turning Point, I think I saw. I don't know. I mean, that's the last time I saw him. Was in that.
I think the only
He was
80s dancing
so
movie
cute.
I've seen is Dirty Dancing, which
Yeah.
I have a hot take here. I think it's overrated. I think Dirty Dancing is overrated.
I know I've mentioned this before, but I loved it when I was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
Way too much. As a parent of female teenagers,
Mm-hmm.
it's a little disturbing.
Is it?
The guy was like, people always correct me, I want to say 30. And she was like 17 or 18.
Oh, the character? Or
Yeah.
like Patrick Swayze and
Patrick
Jennifer
Swayze's
Grey?
character was way older than her.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I don't like that.
I mean, that was the appeal. He was an older guy.
Okay, yeah, but there's a difference between being an older guy, like, you're 18 and he's 23 or
He
something.
did nothing illegal.
Mhm.
Obviously, because she was like 17 or 18, I think, if I remember correctly. I think that was the big deal. She turned 18 or something. But it was
I
still a
don't-
little
wait,
like,
I
I
don't-
understand her dad, the Law and Order guy.
Yes.
I understand his concern.
I do too. No, I didn't quite really, I haven't seen that movie in a while because, as I said, I don't really like it. I think it's overrated, but yeah, I don't like that either. And I don't like that rhetoric that once you turn 18 it's suddenly fine. Like,
It
if you were
just
waiting
seemed a
for
little-
if you're waiting for someone to turn 18, that's weird.
That's a problem.
That's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Any-
That's gross.
Anyway, yeah. So I didn't realize he was 30.
I mean,
or
I don't know
whatever.
if he's exactly 30. I've said that before, and someone's like, oh, no, he was only 27 and a half or something like that. But he was still like, he was older.
Old enough to make it weird.
Old enough to know better than to
I'm
get involved with a girl who's still living with her parents,
I'm-
who's obviously immature.
Okay, so I'm literally 28 right now. I would not even begin to be interested in 17-year-olds. 17-year-olds are juniors in high school.
Mhm. I'm
That's
a week away from
weird.
50. I don't even want to go out with a 30-year-old.
Right?
That's too young.
Yeah. No.
31 maybe.
I don't think I'd go.
kidding.
I don't think I'd go younger than 23 at the very youngest.
I think I'd go down to 40.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on it. They'd have to be mature, though. But I've met
I
50-year-olds that are immature, so...
I think that's fair.
Yeah. I just think my thing with a 30-year-old male is that I'm guessing that they still want to have kids.
A 40-year-old male?
A 30-year-old.
Oh, yes. Maybe.
40 maybe, too. Actually, men can have kids at all ranges.
Oh, no, they can do what,
But they're not
whatever
having
they
kids
want.
with me.
No, not with you, but they can go wherever.
Yeah. And if they want to, be in a long-term relationship with me, I'm not interested in having a baby for them at age 60 when they decide, oh, yeah, maybe I do want kids.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And that would be kind of a red flag even if they asked you.
Right.
I feel
But
like.
that's what I feel like.
Unless you were like totally gung-ho about like, let's adopt a kid, like whatever.
I don't
But
want to adopt kids when I'm
I know.
60 either, but
I don't think most people do, but I'm just saying if that was something you really wanted, like, sure. But
and I'm not saying that every single person in the world wants to have kids.
mm-mm. Yeah.
I'm just thinking if you're a 30-year-old male and you haven't had kids yet, you might
still want to.
You
You might
know, you
still
might
want
change
to.
your mind
Yeah.
if you're, whatever. If you're a 30-year-old female and you haven't had kids,
You might still
you
want
probably
to.
never will want to. I don't know. Maybe 40 would be the cutoff, I would guess.
I mean,
but-
my mom didn't have me until she was 35.
Yeah.
So that's not necessarily true. Sometimes, so I did this on my Instagram. I screenshotted like a Q&A a celebrity was having, and this celebrity is Kelsey Ballerini. She is about my age. She's a few months younger than me, and she is married, and so people were asking like, oh, when are you gonna start having kids? And she like went off on them. She was like, there's always one person, like, one, don't assume that I want kids, or two, that I can have kids,
Right.
or three, that like, whatever. She was listing off all these reasons, like, you never know, like, if that's a sore subject for people, and it's weird, like, assuming, like, right after marriage, that's what people want to do.
I agree. Yeah.
And so I just screenshotted it, and I'm like, and adding to this, not everyone can, afford a kid. Like, having a kid, if you want to have a kid in the hospital in this country, obviously I can't speak for any other country, but it's expensive. It's so expensive. And then raising the kid, and like some people want to have like multiple kids. Like, I can't even imagine being able to afford to raise like one child. And like, it's just like, not everyone wants to. Like, some people like having disposable income and free time.
Or would rather have animals.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of different reasons somebody might not want to have kids, and I feel like we shouldn't be just assuming that young women want to be having kids. Yeah. Like, just don't ask.
Or ask, are you planning on having children? That would be appropriate, not when are you.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be better.
But even so, why ask that at all? Who cares?
Yeah, like,
who cares?
It doesn't matter. It's not, even if you do have kids, I don't think that should be the most interesting thing about you.
No.
Yeah. So, stop asking. Stop asking me.
When are you going to have babies, Molly?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm ever going to.
You're going to have to start freezing your eggs.
Because of all of the reasons I just told you.
That's the trendy thing nowadays, freezing your eggs.
No, that's money.
Expensive, yes.
It's so expensive. No, if I want to have a kid, and the biological clock runs out before I do so, and I decide I want one, I would just adopt.
Mm-hmm.
I would just adopt at that point.
If you really wanted a child, downtown Iowa City, boom, you're pregnant.
I mean, kind of. Yeah.
Especially the way they're packing people into that.
Gosh, yeah.
You walk through the dance floor, boom, you're pregnant.
Oh, gosh.
Has it changed since I was downtown Iowa City? Probably not.
Well, I haven't gone to, like, the dancing clubs because I like to dance, but again, I don't like it in a club setting. Like, I love to dance at, like, a wedding reception.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm just, like...
where they do the chicken dance.
No, where I'm just jumping around with my friends. Mm-hmm. But I feel like the club scene has a very, like, strong hookup culture associated
we'll have
with
to...
it.
I keep keeping an eye on the casino. They did all that remodeling, and then COVID hit, and then they used to have little bands that would play for free in that. You've been to the casino, obviously.
I have been to the casino.
I was going to say your parents are there every week, aren't they?
No, they've actually only gone a few times since vaccinated. Since they've gotten vaccinated.
But they had, I don't know if they still have it. They used to have a little like bar area, dance floor where they'd have like a 80s band or a 50s band or a country band or whatever. It was always some sort of theme. And it was always kind of fun because you just kind of, maybe 50 people are there dancing. Not all of them dancing.
That would be fun.
It was a fun, quiet, and it was free. And then you could drink for free if you drink soda.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I was just speaking of the casino. I've been to a concert there. I went to see Belinda Carlisle a few years ago. And, like, I would love to go see another concert at Riverside.
I've seen a couple of... we saw the Smothers Brothers, which is...
I do not know what that is.
They're brothers.
Yes.
And their last name is Smothers.
Okay.
And they used to have a wildly popular variety type show back in the 70s, 60s. And I only grew up with them because my parents had like 3 or 4 albums that we would play on our record player, and they were all like comedy albums. And that was one of them. And so my sister and I would listen to that album constantly. And so anyway, they came. I didn't realize that they were still alive a couple years ago, and they were coming through. And I'm like, my dad and my sister are like, let's go. And then I saw the guy from Community. Who's that? What's his?
What?
He was there. What's his name again?
I don't know.
The main guy from Community, the blonde, the main.
Joel McHale?
Joel McHale. He did he had a tour and he went through.
Oh, I would have loved to see that. That would have been awesome.
It was fun. And then they had a Spice Girls, like fake Spice Girls. What do you call those? A tribute band. Yeah. And it was supposed to be in the little lobby area that I was just talking about, like the little band area. But they had such a large amount of people that wanted to come that they moved it to the big thing, and that was so much fun, and it was free.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot of fun. They did a really good job.
That is fun.
Yeah. So I always try to keep an eye out. I remember one time we went to they were called Back to the Future, and they were like a 90s cover band, and they dressed up like the guys from Back to the Future.
Oh, that's cool.
So they had weird stuff at the Riverside, and it's always, a lot of them are free.
Back to the Future, another movie I think is overrated.
I liked the first one. I really liked the first one.
It's all right.
But like everything after that, and my kids even liked it, and that was like, it kind of had a resurgence of popularity, I think. It kind of, as the next ones came out when my kids were born.
Mm-hmm.
No, wait. Did they all come out before 2000?
I don't know.
Because I just remember my oldest really obsessing over Back to the Future for a while.
It's a cool concept.
Yeah.
I just didn't love the characters. And for me to enjoy something, I usually have to like the characters.
I liked Doc.
Yeah.
Marty was... he was...
Just a kid. It was just a guy. Marty was just a guy.
I guess I got confused by I don't even think I saw the last one. But whenever... I like the idea of time travel, but whenever I see a TV show or movie or whatever that's about time travel, I get confused.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of it is not because I'm dumb and I can't follow.
Of course not.
I think a lot of it is lazy writing, and they go back and forth and they don't check themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's sometimes I'm like, wait a second, if that happened, then this, and this wouldn't have happened. And then you start thinking it, and you're like, am I wrong? It just gets confusing.
Yeah. No, I agree.
You got to keep it simple.
That's what happened with Doctor Who.
I agree there, too. Yes.
It's like, what is happening? You've gone back on your words so many times. I can't even keep up.
That had its own... I still like Doctor Who.
Oh, I do, too. My friend and I are, watching it.
I have to watch I've seen maybe a third of the new season with the female Doctor, which I was incredibly thrilled about.
I have not gotten to the female Doctor yet. I would... And I was too when I found out that the Doctor was going to be finally female.
Yes,
I was very excited, but I haven't gotten to it.
Did you start watching then, old school,
no,
or just the reboot?
So this thing is, we started watching in person together. The 2005 reboot, with Christopher Eccleston.
I love him. He's my first Doctor. He's my favorite Doctor. He's so sexy.
He's great. He is sexy.
Oh my God,
Thank you.
hot.
He is hot. Yes. Okay. So, we were watching that. We got through most of the season, and then COVID, and so we watched it we watched it together on Zoom, but it was really slow going because we would only watch 1 or 2 episodes every few weeks, and so it took a while. And then we finally started watching again in person in June, just 2 months ago. So we're still, and we haven't
Have you hit David Tennant yet or no?
Oh,
of
course.
Okay.
Of
I
course.
didn't know how far along you were.
No. Okay. So in March of 2020, we stopped at the end of season 1. So we saw the season 1 finale on Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
That was our first one that we saw on Zoom. And then we watched David Tennant, Matt Smith, and we're still on Peter Capaldi. I think we're on Capaldi's
I never
last
watched
season.
any of Peter Capaldi because when he regenerated,
he's my least favorite.
My daughter and I were watching it when he regenerated, and her reaction was so funny. She's like, "Oh, he's really old."
I know.
And I'm like, yeah, he's another white male. We need another white male on here. We need some color or female.
Yes. No, but I was kind of like that too. I knew he was going to be older. I knew that they cast Peter Capaldi in the role before he regenerated. But there's a little bit of a matter of opinion. If you find Christopher Eccleston hot, I do, you do. But Matt Smith and David Tennant were young, and David Tennant is really hot as well. So people were just used to having youthful, attractive doctors. And I'm not saying Peter Capaldi is ugly, but he's just older, and so he's not
I thought he was a little too frenetic. The episodes I did see, he just seemed a little hopped up on caffeine or something. I don't know. The character was a little... And I have to admit, every single Doctor, I liked the idea of it changing, because that was the concept, he can regenerate. But it took me a while to sort of fall for each new Doctor.
Right? Because you're used to the other one.
Because Matt, what's his name again?
Smith.
Matt Smith, the third one I saw, it was like well into his whatever season that I finally
He only was on 3.
So I want to say about halfway through, there was an episode where he was with the 2 kids, the couple.
Oh, the couple.
Rory and
Amy. Yeah.
And they were at a wedding.
Yes.
And he started dancing at the wedding. And to me, that moment, I'm like, okay, I like him.
Yeah.
And I don't know how far into the season it was.
That was pretty far.
Yeah, it took me that long to sort of like, I mean, I kind of, because I liked Rory and Amy, and I still will watch Amy, that actress, on anything.
I think, Cindy, that was an entire season.
Yeah, it took me a long time. And I don't think, I mean, I know everyone loves David Tennant for whatever reason, but.
Wait, no, I love him. He's my favorite.
See, and David Eccleston's my first, so
Christopher
Eccleston is my first, so that's who I...
Christopher was my first too, but like I just loved David Tennant because not only is he just like good to look at, but like I think his was my favorite Doctor. I think he was best encompassing the character. I think he got the best storylines. I think he got the best writing. So I think...
I mean, I agree with that, yeah.
I think he was just the best. What Peter Capaldi, he might be great. He might have been great. I just genuinely don't like the writing in the show. It's boring.
I guess I never noticed that, but I just never really... I watched a couple episodes and I just kind of fell off watching them.
I did too for years and years. I used to love Doctor Who in college, and I actually saw Matt Smith regenerate into Peter Capaldi, and I watched like most of the first season just as it aired, and then I was like, okay, I'm done. And then it wasn't until I started watching Doctor Who all the way through, like with this friend, that I went back to it.
So, who's your favorite companion?
Rose Tyler.
Mine's Donna.
Yeah, I like Donna too.
She is exactly like I am.
She's
exactly like she.
You do give off Donna.
She does that
vibes,
scene where
do.
she's like going through all the scenes where like Doctor Who's like, well, don't you remember when the robots took over the world? And she's like, I don't know, I think I was at home sick or something. Or she was like completely oblivious to the entire world around her. And I'm like,
I loved Donna.
That is
too.
me.
I love Donna too, but I just loved Rose because I feel like, because she was just like an ordinary girl. She worked in like just a store, and then like she just met the Doctor, but she's a normal person, but she went on to do like extraordinary things. And so like you don't have to be like special in order to do
Didn't
that
Donna
stuff
become
like
the brain or something? She did something special. I forget. Not to spoil it, but if you haven't seen Doctor Who yet, I mean, seriously, what is wrong with you?
The thing that you're talking about is in season 4, and season 4 was in 2009. So like, get on it, people.
Exactly.
I think it's not a spoiler anymore. But anyway, so what happens is Donna absorbs some Time Lord DNA, and now she gets like the brain capacity of the Doctor, and so she knows all these things about the universe, and she saves everybody's behind, you know.
And then she forgets everything.
And then has to forget everything because she's still a human person, but with like the Time Lord brain, and so like she can't know all that stuff. It will just overwhelm her. And so the Doctor has to take all of her memories away, including of him. And so, I know I
remember that being sad when that happened.
It breaks my heart. Like she had to forget him. I know.
She's still my favorite.
So sad. I like someone who I think is underrated, someone who gets a lot of flack just because she came directly after Rose, is Martha. Martha Jones was on for 1 season, but I think she was a really good companion.
I barely remember. Was she African American?
Yeah, she was black.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
I should say African English.
You can just say black. It's
Can I say
fine.
black again? I don't want to offend anybody.
I think it's...
She was a person of color.
Yes, she was.
Okay. I barely remember any of that.
Yeah.
That's not sticking out of my brain.
That's the one. Do you remember the episode
was
where
she a nurse?
Yes.
Okay.
No, studying to be a doctor.
Okay.
So do you remember that episode where they go back to Shakespeare times and like battle witches? That's one of my favorite episodes.
I think I'm getting confused with another show that did that same thing.
Oh, well.
Wait, no, they did it in the most recent Doctor Who.
They went back to Shakespeare?
They went back to where there was witches in America, I believe.
Oh, that's cool.
And they
Wait,
pretended that they were...
Don't spoil that. I haven't seen that.
Well, that's been out for a few weeks, at least a year or two, hasn't it been?
But I haven't seen that. I haven't even gotten. I haven't gotten to the female doctor yet. Remember?
Okay, you know, there's a female doctor, right?
Yes, yes. But yeah, that was one of my favorite episodes.
I'm not in love with her as a doctor either, and I'm not in love with the.
I've heard that too. I've heard that.
This isn't a spoiler, but they've got like 3 companions that go along with them.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like overkill.
I just heard that Jodie Whittaker, the actress who plays the Doctor, this is her last season that she's on, and then so I wonder who they're gonna pick.
Idris Elba. No, he's too big now.
Oh,
doesn't his name get popped up with everything, like the Bond movies, everything?
No,
he's gonna be the new Dumbledore.
I would love to see him as the Doctor. I feel like that would be such a renewed interest. It'd be like, okay,
his name has been brought up a bunch of times. I don't think he ever will, because he's now in. He's a big star. He's in. Okay, so I was confused because there's a new Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't they just do Suicide Squad movie?
Yeah, there's a new one coming out, or a one that just came out. I don't care about superheroes.
But he's in it, I think. Idris Elba is.
I'm sure he is.
So I was confused because I'm like, they didn't even rename it something different, like the new Suicide Squad.
Is it just called?
It's called the Suicide Squad. I had to look it up on the internet. I'm like, why? It's like the exact same.
I think
completely different actors. I think Harley Quinn is the same.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, I'm guessing they're using different characters. Was there more than 4 or 5 Suicide Squad people?
Oh, I didn't see the first one. I don't know.
I forget you don't watch those shows, do you?
No, I don't, because
if anyone knows about Suicide Squad and can give me background on the comic book stories of them.
I don't really like superheroes that much.
Well,
I think it's overdone.
That's all right. I don't like romance movies and movies. So.
You can't say that word, Cindy.
Romance schmomance.
Yes.
They're equally fantasy as far as I'm concerned.
They are.
We just like different kinds of fantasy. I like my fantasy in tights
Doctor Who
and big
fantasy.
muscles. He doesn't have tights or big muscles.
Yet.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they should just do Beefcake for the next one. Yes. Oh, my God. They go shirtless the whole time. They won't even have to come up with a quirky outfit like they always do. They always have some sort of shtick to the outfit.
That's another thing where I like David Tennant's outfit. It was like a suit, and then with Converse, that was like his wacky thing.
Yeah,
but
I just never loved him. I like him in other stuff, and I think he's a great actor.
Oh, he is.
Especially that's not even his accent. He's Scottish.
He is Scottish, and what I think is annoying is that he was not allowed to keep his Scottish accent for Doctor Who.
Yeah, why not?
And yet. Peter Capaldi is Scottish, and he was allowed to keep his accent for Doctor Who.
But
Why?
I've had arguments with people who like Doctor Who before the female. Like every time I'd be like, "Oh, I want a woman," and they're like, "Oh no, she can't. The Doctor can't be a woman."
Why?
And I kept saying, "Well, I remember when I think it was when David Tennant became the Doctor, he checked to see if he had boobs."
Exactly.
And I'm like, that to me indicates that that's a possibility.
Okay, when the Doctor regenerates, when Time Lords regenerate, their entire cells change. Of course they could be a woman.
And they can be anything.
I wonder if they could they be animals too?
They could be I think.
Anything in the world, but they just want to be human.
Anything in the universe.
They just want to be human. Or
humanoid.
Humanoid, yes.
But they can be anything in the I think, because I remember him saying, "Oh, how many heads do I have?" He was doing that whole thing. So making sure he wasn't a redhead, because that was the one thing that would be untenable to him.
He's still not ginger.
No.
But yeah, that always bugs me when dude bros are like, "He can't be a woman. The Doctor's always been a man." But
has ticked me off in the past. It's not that bad anymore. But I remember growing up, I had some neighbors, boys that were I now know them as being geeky. I didn't realize it at the time. And they wouldn't let me play like Dungeons and Dragons with them because I was a girl. I'm like, dude, seriously.
It's so fun. Dungeons and Dragons is fun.
I know. Yeah. But that's the kind of...
Yeah.
I don't think it happens as much anymore, but I have heard stories.
Probably not in this day and age, but...
I would hope not after... Well, a couple of years ago, there was a big brouhaha over it.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I am in the correct places on the internet where I don't see a lot of that.
Right.
So.
Well, I mean, you always hear stories of female gamers having problems with male gamers and being in it. If you're like a female game writer, however you make games, you might have problems.
Yeah.
Because it's a male-dominated industry for the most part. Mm-hmm. And they've taken advantage of that. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a whole big controversy in World of Warcraft.
Oh, yeah?
Have you been reading any of that?
No. But the friend I watch Doctor Who with is really into World of Warcraft, so I wonder
ask him because that I've only read little snippets, but the company that creates it, like that corporation or whatever, they were having problems with sexism and some pretty nasty, like the men in that particular organization would like have chat rooms about, getting with women and, it was gross. Like to call it locker room behavior would be an understatement.
I mean, but I know what you mean then.
But it was all from I forget what the name of Blizzard.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft company.
Oh, you know what? I actually have heard of, like rumblings of that, but I didn't know like the full.
I only read a little bit of here and there because it's not that interesting to me. But I'm like, oh, I played World of Warcraft for like 3 years. Like, kind of sucks to know that.
I mean, I'm not really surprised though.
I mean, when you see so many video games in World of Warcraft, if I remember correctly, the female characters were busty and wearing little.
I mean, I feel like there's different skins you can choose from, though.
You can, but like the female characters were very female.
Yeah.
And I think, if I remember correctly, the armor was just ever so less. Do you know what I'm saying?
Like a V-neck?
Yeah. I mean, you know
like
how
cropped armor.
That's my favorite trend is like when they take the superheroes and redraw them. Like a male superhero doing the female superhero poses, like with the butt out and like it's just, or to transfer like the armor that the women wear in their costumes to what a male would be wearing. Like to make that flip. And it's just it makes it just look even more ridiculous. Like it's crazy. But I guess that's what boys want.
I kind of wish I was more into World of Warcraft and stuff like that. I feel like that would be a nice...
If you like Dungeons and Dragons, you would love that.
I have actually played World of Warcraft a little bit. It was funny because I was dropped into the world after I created my character and I like typed out loud. I'm like, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Someone help me. And then there was this like 12-year-old kid that came up to me. He's like, I'll help you.
Yeah, there's so many nice people in the game.
But I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. And somebody said, I've been there.
I would have people help me and I would still not be able to get it.
I know.
Like I was the world's worst player. There were some nights where I would like literally just fly around. Like if I had like a dragon or whatever it was that you had to, like I would just run around and look at I just like to look at the scenery. Because it's a really wonderfully, like, drawn or however they do that.
Have I told this? I think maybe I've told this story on the air before, but it's very similar to that where I had a friend in college who, like, played Elder Scrolls, and she's like, I just use it to, like, pick flowers on the mountainside.
That was basically me. I'm like, I just like to look at the people and the things. And
she's like, is there a flower picking DLC? I was like...
Yeah. Does she play Animal Crossings now?
I don't know. I think she would love it, though. She would love it, yeah.
I love those. I'm, like, into Sims right now.
No, me too. I love playing Sims. I love playing Animal Crossing. Those games I love. But, like, story-based or, like, one game genre that I'm completely hopeless at is first-person shooters. I cannot do it for the life of me. I can't focus,
Mm-hmm.
like, and I don't know how to change my guns or, like, even how to shoot it consistently.
Right.
And so I just, like, maybe if I had, like, a day to figure all this out in, like, a training session, but no, they just, like, drop
There's
you
all these
in.
little tricks. I don't understand how people get it. Like, people just intuitively figure it out.
I mean, they just play for years and years and then know what to do. But, like, one time I was hanging out with some of my guy friends. They were playing Overwatch, and we were waiting for our other friend to show up. And they're like, Molly, do you want to play Overwatch? And I'm like, oh, I've never played. I don't think I would be, like, very good. And they're like, oh, it's fine. We'll teach you. And so they taught me how to do it, and they dropped me into, like, the world or whatever I had to do. And I just got killed immediately, like, every single time. And then after, like, 20 minutes, I'm just like, I'm done. Thank you for teaching me to play, but I can't get this. I don't know what to do. I'll just be on my phone on the couch. And I'll just watch you guys play.
It's fun to
It'll be
watch
fine.
the games,
Yeah.
I think. I mean, I used to do that when I was a kid at the video arcades. Because they would start getting out, like, there was one called Joust. And if you got to watch a really good player play it, it would go through the whole story. So there's, like, a whole story, which is kind of fun to watch, which I imagine that these video games are like. Because there's a whole story thing that they go through, right?
Yeah.
Some of the better games.
Yes. Yeah, they have, like, backstory and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't have the attention span for video games.
I don't have the memory
usually.
because, like, you have to remember where everything is. And, like, I dated a guy who played World of Warcraft also, and he showed me some stuff, and he would remember, like, quests. And there's, like, a bazillion quests. And he had gone through all of them, and he would remember each one as he went back to it. I'm like, how do you retain that?
I don't know.
I'm like, I can't even remember, like, the trick you showed me 5 seconds ago, let alone a quest I did 2 years ago.
There's just a lot of things on screen, and so there's a lot to look at. It's very, like, overstimulating if you're not used to it. And so, like, I'm just like, okay, where is, like, the chat window is, like, right here, but where's like my bag of weapons? Where's my, like, map? Where is, like, the sound settings? Where is,
and, like, what do you have in your thing that would be useful? Like, you have to, like, know. And then there's that whole, I never did a raid or anything, but, like, there's people that do the raiding, and you have to have, like,
my friend is really into raiding.
Like, you have to have certain people in your group. Like, well, like with Dungeons and Dragons, you have to have, like, certain people in your group. Like, you have to have, like, a, I don't know, witch or whatever, and a medic, and whatever they call them in wizard terms. But it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Probably
that was the one thing
cleric.
with Dungeons and Dragons. I've played it twice, and I'm like, you guys never told me how much math there was.
Right?
Like, you have to write all these numbers down, and
Like,
then you got to roll, and then you got to keep track of, like, okay,
can y'all do the math?
you need this 6-sided dice, and then you need this 12-sided, you know, like, and I'm, like, counting the sides, and I'm like, okay, I can't, this is taking too long.
I'll just role play as a pretty mermaid.
Can I
and
just
you guys
watch?
handle the numbers.
I'm just gonna watch because the story's really awesome, but I'm just gonna watch.
One time I think we've had this conversation before on this show, but I did a dungeon master quest one time. I was dungeon master, and so I got to create the story and stuff, and that was fun. But you have to, like, what wasn't fun was that I have to, like, assign like, numbers to all of my monsters.
Yeah.
I have to make them, like, not too easy, but not too hard that, like, my party gets killed immediately. Because at the beginning, I was making them too easy. And they're like, these are really easy to kill. And so instead of, like, 1 spider monkey, I would have, like, 4 spider monkeys. And they would have to, like, divide and conquer. And it was a little more challenging, but, like, nothing they couldn't, like, really handle, you know? But yeah, that was fun. Like, creating the story, creating the problems in the world that they have to solve. That was fun.
Yeah. I mean, I was lucky I had a really good dungeon master, but I was very impressed with the intricacy. Like, he had a whole world and story, and he knew what the game was going to do months from now. But
Oh yeah,
I don't know how my brain does not work that way.
I was not that planned. I knew like the overarching story I wanted, but I didn't really realize like where my players go. Like I didn't have it planned out like night by night by night by night, and that was actually fun too because like my players got to like kind of create the story within the story as well, which I liked, and I think they did too. Judging by like the feedback they gave me. I would love to play Dungeons and Dragons again. I think it would be cool to have like an all girl party. I think that would be really fun, but I am very busy, and the other annoying thing about Dungeons and Dragons was that you are at the mercy of everyone in the party's schedule. So you can have a set night, but then somebody like has to go to their sister's birthday party, or somebody.
But do you have to have everybody there every night, or is there?
I think you do some.
That's what confused me.
You might. I mean, you can just be like, "Oh, Grog is sick with the plague tonight," or something. But like, you have to come up with reasons why that particular character can't be there because like but ideally you would have every player there all the time because that's
my
like
problem
your set
was
party.
I have like a 2-hour limit for socializing,
and
I found that at least the group that I played with, I left after like 3 hours, and I think they played for another 3 or 4 hours.
Oh, see, I never did that. My group was like 3 hours max, maybe. And another thing, they liked smoking weed while they were playing. I never did. I don't like smoking weed. Police, if you're listening. But they liked doing it, and so sometimes like the gameplay would be slowed. Yeah.
I mean, pot smokers weren't on top of things?
No, they were not. They were not. And so I would also, I think, like to play with either sober or drunk people.
I don't think I don't think
not high people.
Dungeons and Dragons would work with drunk people.
Maybe slightly buzzed people. I think that would be fun.
People on meth, you get done real
No.
quick. You'd be done in about 10 minutes. Boom, we're done.
No.
Okay, that'll be our next task. Let's play Dungeons and Dragons under all sorts of.
No. Oh my gosh.
I wouldn't, because clearly I'm sober.
Or
but
get a party with people, and each are under the influence of a different substance.
I'll be the control. I'll be sober.
I'll be drunk. Somebody else can be high on weed. Someone else can be high on
cocaine,
crack.
and then heroin, and
yeah. Oh gosh.
I'll just do caffeine. I'll be straight caffeine.
Okay. I'm sure maybe it has been done. I don't know.
Drunkers and Dragons. I'm trying to think of a clever name for it. Drunk Dungeons and Dragons.
I'm sure that's the thing on
I'm
YouTube.
Sure it is too.
On YouTube, I'm sure you can look up Drunk Dungeons and Dragons.
Hours and hours of it. You can watch people play Dungeons
and
Dragons
can.
on YouTube.
No, I've done it.
Yeah.
I've actually. It was fun. The one thing I watched was teens at a house party, and like things keep going wrong.
Like it was just regular people playing it, or
yeah, well, regular people playing it, and then like teens at a high school party, but like it's the characters of Dungeons and Dragons. So it's a teenage dragon, it's a teenage witch, it's a teenage whatever monster you play as. It's a teenager version, and they're in high school and they're at a house party.
That's real specific.
No, but it was funny.
I do think that geeky people are the most creative.
Yeah,
quite frankly.
For sure.
I haven't checked the chat room. Is there anybody in there anymore?
Somebody said a while ago that they liked the female companions for the Doctor. And like, there's more females than
I was going to say, I'm trying to think, like, Rory was a male?
Oh, that's it.
It was all girls. Cheeky.
Rory. Who else was... There was like one other guy. There was like one other guy. Mickey. he was kind of a companion to Rose. He was like Rose's boyfriend, and he sometimes tagged along.
I don't remember that. It's been a long time. It's been like 10, 15 years since I watched it.
I don't know if you would count Mickey as a companion, but if you did, he was a guy. But like the only like regular companion who was a guy in the newest series, being 2005 to now, is probably Rory. I think maybe there was one back in the 60s or 70s or whatever, but I've never seen an older episode in full. I've seen a little bit of the Tom Baker episode.
It's not really my aesthetic.
It was very different. It was very different.
70s sci-fi, like bad.
Yeah. And then I saw I saw a little bit of a William Hartnell from 1963, and that was just too different.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's a tone thing. Like, tonally, it's so different.
Yeah.
And it, like, throws me off. So I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I like the reboot. I don't like the old stuff.
Have you seen the 1994 movie with Paul McGann? Because I have not.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, so there's...
And that's the one thing I get confused. They always threw those Christmas specials in.
Yes.
Like, what order am I supposed to watch all that stuff in?
As they aired. So, the first Christmas special with David Tennant, then the second Christmas special with David Tennant, then the third. Then the first one with Matt Smith, then the second one with Matt Smith, then the third one
But
with
you
Matt
watch
Smith.
them in the order of where they are in the series, right?
Yes.
Okay.
They were not usually, like, continual. Like, you could watch them on your own.
They were independent, it seemed like.
Yes, and so they weren't, like, they were just complete stories on their own.
I liked, what was her name? The one that kept saying, spoilers!
River Song.
I love her. I love that actress.
She was fine.
She was like an ER.
Mm-hmm.
And she played, she was in, like, his PBS Taming of the Shrew or something like that. It was really funny. Not funny, but it was very entertaining. Mm-hmm. I really like that actress. I liked her as a character.
Alex Kingston is the actress.
She is amazing.
As River Song as a character is fine, I guess, but she's not my favorite.
I just like, because I use her line all the time.
Spoilers.
If somebody's talking about a TV show I don't like, I'm like, spoilers, I don't want to hear it. I just don't really want to hear about it anyway. But spoilers! So one time I'll use the spoilers like, shut up, I don't want to hear about this stupid show.
Or maybe everyone listening right now will be like, oh my god, stop talking about Doctor Who. Listen.
I know, but when you don't call in with topics, this is what happens.
We talk about Doctor Who.
We talk about Amish.
Nerd stuff.
Amish boarding, or whatever they call it. I'm sure there's got to be a word for it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Trundling. No.
No,
could I be right?
Trundle is something else. Trundle is like a little tiny bed that pulls out of your regular bed.
I think it's called, Amish.
Board sleep.
Board. No. What, like when they are courting, right?
Yeah. Or is it before I don't know if it's before the wedding. I feel like that's something that you would do before the wedding.
I think so too. I don't think they do that like after they're married.
No, or like even when they're dating. I feel like you probably wouldn't want them in the same bed if they were just like casually dating. I think that's an engaged thing. Just logically, that's how my brain is interpreting that, but I could be wrong.
I must have spelled something wrong because I'm getting like Amish cutting boards.
Amish board bed couple.
Bed.
No,
okay,
wait.
Amish board in bed. I'm going to do that. Okay. Somebody obviously is.
Do you have Safe Search on?
No, I don't think so. I'm getting Amish beds. I'm not even in shopping, and it's like trying to sell me Amish made beds.
Wow. Well,
Amish board in bed. We'll say dating.
Or maybe Amish...
Bundling. They call it bundling. What did I call it?
Trundling.
Trundling. I was close.
No, it's
I had
different.
the ulling in there.
It's different. I was going to suggest to do Google Amish courting rituals.
I was trying to spell courting, but I think I spelled it wrong.
It's Courting.
I had COR.
Yeah, you have to add the U in there.
But I got Amish board in bed dating. That's what came up. they call it bundling, where there is a separation between the couple so that they each have their own side of the bed where they can talk and become close through conversation when times throughout the day are limited to speak with one another due to work and such. Amish do not use a bundling board.
Oh. So they're just in bed talking.
I guess.
Okay.
I mean, there's all sorts of rules. I mean, they talk all night. That's what happens.
All night? Wait, they don't even, like, sleep at all?
I mean, would you? Because I don't think there's many
if I was tired
opportunities to talk with the opposite sex.
Oh, that's
in
true.
That.
I guess. I become a different person if I don't get.
And I will say this. It says bed courtship. I'm assuming that's the same thing. Is only practiced by the ultra-conservative churches. So I don't know if, like, the regular Amish in Kelowna do this.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, they're fully dressed. It has biblical roots, but it's not an Amish invention.
Oh.
They just get credit for it.
Okay. All right.
I mean, there's something to that. If you really want a long-term relationship to work, you should probably talk first, and
you should talk all night and be like, "Can I talk all night with this person?"
I mean, I think that's kind of a sweet, nice idea.
It is nice. It is cute.
I'm not interested in hooking up for the rest of my life, though. So I'll just be bundling by myself,
just talking to yourself all night.
Well, the dog helps.
Oh, Moosey.
We don't put a board in between me and Moose.
Oh, if you want dog content, go follow Cindy on TikTok.
Oh, I've got like 40 views.
I know, I saw that.
I'm kind of a big TikTok deal now.
I know, you're just like Allie.
No,
you're viral.
For those of you listening, that's not a lot of people. That's a lot of people randomly.
We have one guy in the chat room.
There's hundreds and hundreds of people at home listening, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure.
Thousands.
And they're screaming at the radio, be like, "It's called bundling!"
That's what I keep saying. I threaten every time to just talk randomly about stuff I barely know anything about.
You know what? I think that's less of a threat and what people want. What listeners of this show want is to just...
That's what I keep...
I
think
ramble.
People should just randomly send us topics, and then we'll just talk about it like we kind of know what we're talking about. Just awkwardly Google it and read off of Google or Bing or whatever you're on.
Google. Who uses Bing?
I think I do, apparently.
Why?
Because that's what just popped up. Microsoft Bing.
Interesting.
I don't know how to set it so that Google is my thing.
Do you have a Microsoft phone then?
I have an iPhone.
But
I'm using that Edge browser.
I don't know. I have an Android.
Okay,
and it has Google.
I'm too lazy to figure out. I know there's a way to set it, but...
Interesting. So you just have Bing as a default. That's
it's
funny.
Better than Ask Jeeves. Do you remember that?
Is that even still a thing?
I don't know, but that's one of my first searches.
Ask Jeeves was like on its way out when I was a kid.
That was one of my first internet experiences, is Ask Jeeves.
I remember, it was cool. We were in elementary school and we would use Ask Jeeves in the computer lab.
Wasn't it like real people that would answer your questions, or
no?
No,
I think it was just AI, but it answered you as if it was a real person. And I think that was the appeal. It's like, who built the Great Wall of China? And then they would be like, well, whoever, the Great Wall of China was built in blah, 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 blah. So like they would address you like a person.
Because I vaguely remember that, and you couldn't just type in a word, I don't think.
No, you have to ask a question. Yeah, you have to ask a question.
It's like Jeopardy.
Right, well...
It's time.
We're almost done. We have like 2 minutes. So, this episode is going to stay up on our YouTube, and that's the Mighty 1630 KCJJ. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can also get me on Facebook at The Molly Suter Show. Again, don't message me on there because it's a whole thing. But you can get Cindy at Facebook.
Cindy Hudson.
Just
on
Cindy
Facebook,
Hudson.
yeah.
She has a user profile. Mine is like a fan page, so it's slightly different. But I hope you guys understand. I don't want everyone adding me on my regular
Just
Facebook.
Just like
the Facebook page. Yeah. So yeah, thank you very much for listening to us today, Cindy. Thank you for being here. I think it was a good show. We were kind of thinking maybe it would be a dud after people were gassing us up in the chat, but it was actually fine.
I think so too. It was better than fine. It was slightly better than fine. Slightly better.
It was kind of okay. I think. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. You're listening to the Mighty 1630 KCJJ.
From the Hertine and Stalker Studios in the heart of the Hawkeye Nation, this is the mighty 1630 KCJJ, Iowa City.
Hertine and Stalker Jewelers, making memories, making moments.
Now, Iowa City's news first.
I'm Tommy Lang with KCJJ News. Johnson County Public Health is now advising all residents to wear masks indoors whether or not they've been fully vaccinated. The county's community health manager, Sam Jarvis, told the Board of Supervisors that as of Wednesday, the county is experiencing moderate transmission, while surrounding counties are either rated substantial or with high